Welcome to the Casual Adventure Notes podcast, the Ken podcast. Lazy, easy listening about little life's adventures.
And lessons.
Hi, I'm Duz.
And I'm Devy.
All right, maybe we'll kick off with our palette cleanser today. I think it's your turn. So do you want to go and introduce what it is?
Yes, so it's a continuation of the last one we did in the previous episode. 101 things I learned in business school. So did you want to pick a number, Doreen?
Between 1 and 101, I'm going to pick the number 12.
12. All right, here we go. 12. Ooh, okay. So this one is called A One-Person Business Has Departments. So on the left side is a whole bunch of what looks like folders. And it's got like your accounting, finance, customer service, HR, IT, marketing, operations, production, purchasing, research and development, and sales. So the description here says, many businesses have a similar concerns and responsibilities, and therefore similar departments. A department in a large business may have hundreds of thousands of employees in a sole proprietorship. It may be represented by a folder in the cloud and a few hours of work per month. Honoring the universality of departments is essential to setting up a business and facilitating growth. Putting standards and practice in place that others will readily understand anticipates the eventual hiring of employees. Even naming and arranging computer folders and files by a universal rather than idiosyncratic standard can help growth occur more naturally. So what do you think?
I don't even know if I could have followed that. That was so wordy.
It was. I couldn't pronounce some of the words. But I think the general concept around it is, you know, when you go into a business or company, the way that it's set up and structured, even if it's like the location of certain documents, there needs to be some level of order, structure, and process. So, and that's, you know, partly whether it's onboarding new employees or, you know, I'm actually going to say like, you know, the way a product is, you know, for example, sold, and then it goes to, you know, the sales area, and then there's the customer sort of relations. So it's about sort of organization in a structure. You can't have a real successful business without organization.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So the takeaway is basically like business is never straightforward. You can't just focus on one thing to have a successful business.
Yeah, exactly. Pretty much. I think it's such a real key problem you see these days, particularly around like onboarding new staff, because the onboarding transition is always the most tricky and making them feel well supported, but also knowing where to find certain things, you know, whether it's certain forms or, you know, anything really.
Yeah, or even what their role is and how they fit into the current company's dynamics and what their processes are.
Yeah, exactly. So companies, onboarding, very important. So make sure you keep focus on that.
I agree. Some of the best companies I've actually worked for probably had the best onboarding experiences, which made me feel like I was set up for success. Whereas like other companies that I've worked for or contracted for or, you know, those situations, sometimes if the onboarding experience is not as great, I find that if anything, it's just sunken investment on their part because it takes me a lot longer to actually like get on board and deliver good work.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you can't really do your job unless you know what your job is.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
All right, that's the palette cleanser. Let's dive into our main courses. What's up? What's new?
What's new? Okay. So look, I've been like watching this new sort of anime on Netflix. Yes, I know when you hear anime Netflix, you're probably thinking not legit because you know I'm not viewing it on say Crunchyroll or some more what do you say, like authentic place where you sort of view animes. But there's this random anime that I just really randomly came across. Sorry, that's just our dogs barking in the background.
I don't know if people can hear it, but if you can, yes, it's dogs.
I think it's like approaching dinner time, so they're just giving us advance warning. But But yeah, what was I saying? Yes, I was sort of started watching this anime called Delicious in Dungeon, and how I sort of got onto it. It's actually like a lot of shows and songs or artists. Is I just kind of stumbled and I saw this like random clip introducing it, and it was just a scene of this group of people, and they were just essentially preparing a meal and cooking it. And I don't know about you, but I just really love watching, particularly anime, people preparing food, cooking it, and then eating it. There's something that's very like aesthetically pleasing, ASMR-ish about specifically anime and food.
What does ASMR stand for again? ASMR. ASMR stands for autonomous sensory meridian response. Meridian? What does meridian mean?
No idea.
Define meridian.
I think it's something to do with its sounds, isn't it? It's like the emphasis is around sound.
Meridian is a circle of constant longitude passing through a given place on the Earth's surface.
What?
That feels wrong.
Yeah,
or in Chinese medicine, each of the set of pathways in the body along with vital energy is said to flow. That sounds more accurate.
Sorry, say that again. I didn't get that.
So meridian, MERIDIAN.
Yeah.
In acupuncture and Chinese medicine, it's known as each of a set of pathways in the body along which vital energy is set to flow.
Okay. So how does that relate to like ASMR?
Because ASMR stands for autonomous sensory meridian response. So it's like a response, like it's something that you can't control and it's a sensory thing that flows in you. Because when you're watching that show, do you get like tingles?
I won't say tingles, but I mean, it's very relaxing. Yes. If you're saying like, it's relaxing, it's very like nice to hear sounds. Yes.
What's it about?
So it's essentially about, this group of, I guess, say dungeon explorers. They're sort of a mix of like mythical creatures like elves, dwarfs, a knight. And the whole premise is they're going in this dungeon. They're trying to rescue the sister of the knight, and in this dungeon, there's all these monsters. So as they progress through levels, there's new monsters. Because this particular group can't afford to buy food, they sort of made this decision, or one of them said, like, let's actually just eat the monsters that we have to face and kill. So every episode is just premises around them, around a dish. So each episode title is a dish. So it could be like a tart or hot pot, or grilled meat. So, in some episodes, they're literally cooking up like a giant scorpion, and like de-gutting it, de-shelling it, and then cooking it into a hot pot. And I know it sounds really gross because that's the thing, though, because it's like not even real, like mostly real. And obviously, like the vegetables are sort of, vegetables are vegetables, but it's not even real food. But every time I watch it, I just get so hungry. And just hearing like, it's like the simmering of them boiling up, a soup or a broth, or the chopping of like lettuce or leaves or something is just, it's just very aesthetically pleasing.
Satisfying.
That's the word. Yeah. So I think that's how I got really drawn into it.
Yeah.
I think there's actually a broader plot around like, rescuing the sister and all this. I'm not going to go into details because I don't really want to ruin the for people who haven't watched it, because it's still sort of being released every week, the episodes. I think that the manga, which it's based off, is pretty much finished, so you can probably find out what happens at the end. But I'm very excited every week because I'm like, I wonder what they're going to cook up next and what kind of creatures. Yeah. And there were some episodes where they've got like these like sort of like half human, half animal, like a merman, where it's like the bottom of like a like a mermaid, like a fish, but then the top is like the fish head, and then the bottom is like human, and they're like it's so funny because the characters are like, oh, is it kind of like going beyond the line because it's sort of an animal, but it's also human, and that's where we draw the line around humans. But there was an episode which was around like it's sort of, I guess, not a finale, but one of the big episodes where they essentially cook a dragon. And I remember just looking at the meat, and it's like it almost looks like this wagyu marbling, and they're trying to describe it, and it's just even like the searing noise. I'm pretty sure, like after watching the episode, I ended up going to like Korean barbecue just to satisfy my urge.
So you watch an anime where they cooked a dragon, but they depicted it to look like fatty, high grade meat, and it made you crave red meat in real life.
Yeah, that's right. I know. But
Cartoon.
it's so strange because I don't know about you, but like I've watched cooking shows and mukbangs and stuff. But I just don't get that same satisfaction or craving when I'm watching even real life people preparing food or cooking it and eating it. It's just the way anime. I don't know the way they do it, and maybe it's just a personal preference or something. But I don't know. What do you mean?
I think ASMR is interesting because it really does depend on the person. I think different people have different things that they would find satisfying. So I think actually food anime is a big genre. In Japan, there's actually a lot of anime tailored around like cooking or eating, or at least it's like a secondary thing. So like if there is a scene where they're cooking food, like they would spend a lot of money on the animation to do that because there is kind of like a well-known appeal for it. I personally can relate. I haven't watched an anime in like that you described.
Delicious in Dungeon, yeah.
Delicious Dungeon?
Delicious in Dungeon.
Delicious in Dungeon.
Yeah.
Okay, cool translation.
Yeah. Very
English. But I watched other food anime. So the one that like I think of off the top of my head is Food Wars. Have you watched that?
I don't. I feel like I've definitely probably seen clips of it, but can you just give me like a quick what is it again? Like the plot?
Yeah, so it's about this kid who is an aspiring chef, essentially. Well, he's just very into cooking. Him and his dad own this restaurant, and then his dad needs to go away for whatever reasons, and then somehow he ends up in this high-end culinary school with all these other kids who are studying culinary.
Culinary.
And then they it's just them going against each other, learning how to cook different cuisines, and then every episode is basically them like navigating how to cook something, learning how to cook something, and then later in the show there's competitions between the students to like cook different dishes. So you see that. There's not really a strong plot under it, to be honest. It's basically about how he becomes one of like the most top chefs and well known. There's another girl that's like has a prestigious background who is like inherently supposed to like inherit the title and inherit being good. And she is very like at the start she is very like up herself and whatever, but then she learns to like appreciate his skills and appreciate other things, and there's like things about friendships and all that stuff, like very typical anime storyline. Because I actually don't remember the plot at all. I just remember
the food.
I only remember the food. Food Wars is different for a few different reasons, though. I think it would appeal to different people. Yes, the food, that's what attracted it to me because it's very satisfying to look at. It makes you hungry. It makes you salivate. I think it's just portrayed in the best way possible. It's almost like if you like cook meat, it's not always going to look great in person, right?
Yeah.
But like in an anime, they can make it like it's optimized version of it. It's like glossy, and you can almost like see the smoke coming out of it if it's like char grilled or whatever. But the other thing that's appealing about Food Wars is there's a lot of fan service in it. Do you know what fan service is?
No, what's that?
It's like a common term used particularly in context of anime or kind of like that kind of pop culture thing where there's art or things written in a way that is a little bit like tongue-in-cheek. So in Food Wars in particular, when they taste food and it's like amazing, they have like almost like an orgasmic reaction to it.
Yeah. So it's like, yeah.
So it's like depicted
a bit of play
like
on
that.
Yeah.
And that's like also part of the charm because it's a little bit funny and exaggerated, and also people like that stuff. That's not why I liked it. I told you I only like it for the food. But yeah, I find that when I watch like animation of food or when someone's cooking or eating it, it's really satisfying. Like I get really like, I don't know, it is relaxing. I think relaxing is the right word when I watch it in the cartoon format. But unlike you, I like real life mukbangs as well. Actually, I hate it when there's like eaters where it's a bit like, get sauces all over their mouth. Like I find that gross.
Eating. Yeah.
I like neat eating, but high volume. I find that really satisfying. The reason I use the word tingle to describe ASMR before is because I know that's satisfying for me, because when I watch people eat certain foods, when I listen to it and watch it, I get like almost like this like small tingle at the back of my neck. That's like just satisfying. That's it. Like that's the only way I can describe it, which is why I like it. I like watching that stuff because it feels good. But for other people, it's gross. Like people hate watching or listening to people eat and chew.
It has to be for me, like watching mukbangs or real people has to be like a particular food that I like. So like I love seafood. So if it's something to do with like, crab or prawns or scallops, then I can actually enjoy watching the real life. But it's always for me like 10 times better if it was in sort of anime form.
Why is that?
I don't know. I think you're right. I think it's around like I think they've obviously glamorized a bit more the process of cooking it and preparing it. When I cook an egg, I probably use like 3 pans and probably burn stuff. So, it's not exactly like this seamless process. But I think it's that, picking up like the good parts of cooking and the sounds and the eating that really just make it for me. But, it's really funny, like, even with like Food Wars, I'm assuming like the base, like they'll have some similar basis around like learning a new dish or mastering a craft.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming there's actually quite a fair level of factual accuracy on like that being played out in the anime on the technique.
Food Wars, yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Food Wars, yes.
And that's just like, I don't know, it's like a very common thing in a lot of Japanese animes where they're really around making things factually accurate. So sometimes it could be like a scene of a particular place in Japan, like Shibuya Crossing, and you can see like, for example, the signs or the rusted bars, and they really keep to that in the anime when they could easily just do a really simple, people recognize it, but the level of detail they go into it is beyond. I think this is sort of also your appreciation last episode around, the creative industry and the passion that they really infuse in the work, and it really shows up in that.
Yeah, there's something about like, I know that the anime you spoke about is fantasy to a certain extent because there's like dungeons and monsters and stuff like that. But there is an actual different appeal when there's a realism element taken or inspired by and then pulled into shows. I don't know why. Maybe it's because you can feel like you can picture yourself more in those situations. Like I can't really pinpoint it, but even in like IRL, in real life films and stuff like that, that's the same thing, right? Like when there's like a show that is not fantasy or sci-fi and it's just about everyday life, there's also an appeal around that as well because it's a little bit realistic.
Yeah, that's right. I think that's why like I love watching shows, whether it's reality movies or TV shows where it's based in the city I live in, because I'm like, oh yeah, that's a familiar site or that's a familiar restaurant,
Yeah.
Probably brings in that.
It evokes something.
Yeah, it evokes whether it's nostalgia or, like
sentiment, is that the word?
Yeah, sentiment.
Sentimental?
Yeah.
Yeah, I also think it's something to do with the mundaneness of these tasks. Even if in certain scenarios they're depicted in an exaggerated way or glamorized way, there's something mundane fundamentally about it that I think is appealing. I think it's that low cognitive effort when you're like consuming that stuff as well. So it's the same appeal, I think, when people watch like reality TV or hopefully listen to this actually, that it shouldn't require a lot of effort.
Casual,
like
easy listening or viewing.
Exactly. But I think that is like really appealing. Like it's just a lot of like people call it trashy things, but I think there is a part of you when you are so on during the day, every day, especially when you have a role in your life where you need to be the thinker and make a lot of decisions. I think there's something really attractive to, at the end of the day, like curling up and watching or reading or listening something where you don't have to make a decision, where you don't have to think, where you don't have to like retain that kind of stuff. And it's just very straightforward. It's A to B. You're watching it and you're like, cool.
Yeah, it's sort of like, I mean, I get like, you know, there's obviously times when, you know, when you watch like a Christopher Nolan movie or M. Night Shyamalan where there's like all these twists and turns, but it's like it really requires a bit of focus. So then, you know, by missing a couple of minutes, you're not like completely lost in the plot and then what's actually happened so far.
Yeah. Like, have you ever said like someone will recommend you a movie or show or something, and then you kind of get the gist of what the synopsis is, and it might be a bit serious or like really depressing, strong storyline. So you know it's going to be good, but you're like, need to be in the mood.
Yeah. I think for one movie that I still don't fully understand, and I remember watching it in the cinema, was Interstellar. I can't remember exactly what the synopsis, but I remember just missing bits of it because I don't know whether I was sort of focused on eating the popcorn, the choc tops, because the choc tops are like banger in the cinema. That's the only reason you probably sometimes go to a cinema. But I don't even remember exactly what the plot was. I remember there was a scene about like a cupboard and stuff falling over, and it was I'm sure there was some deep meaning, physics, something behind it, but yeah, I got completely lost. But the one thing that like the TV show that I always watch that is like, even though it's quite technical but it's really easy watching, is The Big Bang Theory. Like it's something that you always have in the background, and I think because every episode is part of it's got a continuation to a storyline, but it's you can jump into in any season and you know, get the logistics of what it's about. Yeah,
it's lighthearted. Like they made science lighthearted.
Yeah, I think that's another show where you're like, oh, obviously I don't have a science background.
Yeah,
like if all the stuff they talk there is the legit stuff, or they've just made it up and no one's caught on to it yet.
Well, science is almost like the background. Like it's just like setting the context and the world for them to then actually have that show. But the show is really just following a friendship group, right? And about them developing relationship and navigating how to interact with other people and each other. And then it's mostly comedy anyway, so there's just like really like jokes along the way.
Yeah. It's kind of like almost a similar sort of premise as to why, like, you know, for example, Friends was so popular. Again,
Friends
explored a lot of, you know, like this friendship relationship concepts, but again, it was very easy going.
Yeah. Sitcoms. Situation comedies. That's what it stands for, right? Sitcoms? Situation comedies?
I don't know. I think I've just always known it as sitcoms.
Stand for, putting that into my computer, it says sitcom is short for situation comedy. It's a funny TV show with a realistic setting. Situation, because you're putting it in a situation. So like in the context of Friends, they were always in their apartment or the cafe were the main situations.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's always in the same setting, like you said.
And because they're studios, right? Like, I don't know if situation is always means that it's in a studio setting, but they're sets that are built for them to film. And then back in the day, it used to be in front of a live audience. Is that a thing?
That's actually, I don't know. Like sometimes a laugh seemed very automated. And it's also like a bit of a risk. Like, you know, imagine like, I guess, I mean, you got professional writers and they probably know what's funny. But imagine like, you know, if the joke didn't hit and no one laughed and it's just like this awkward sort of, you know, pause or wait time.
The first thing that pops up on Google is Friends was filmed in front of a live audience except for cliffhangers. Shooting an episode of Friends was a lengthy process, typically lasting 5 hours with multiple takes per scene and 20 minutes between scenes to change sets. That's wild.
Would you say 5 hours?
Like they say, like could take up to 5 hours or typically lasting 5 hours. But that's insane because, you know, oh my God, like New Respect. I didn't think it was like every episode, but that means like the actors, not only do they have to have like a screen present, but they're acting in front of a live audience too.
So what happens when like they do make a mistake then? They must have to like
retake
and do it in front of the audience.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's like another layer of like
it's
pressure.
Almost like, yeah, I know exactly. It's like you want to just get it right first go. And then also you don't want to mess it up for all the other actors who will have to then redo.
Oh God. Like I know they have like table readings and rehearsals prior, but still, oh gosh, that's like a thing. The laughing tracks I heard, so they record laughing tracks. Oh, actually with Friends it might be real, but I heard Nickelodeon shows, a lot of their shows, they had laughing tracks. And allegedly it was the same laughing track that they just reuse over and over again.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No one
I'm going to
ever
confirm that because that's something I heard. Let me fact check so I'm not spreading false information or continuing the spreading of false information. Was the laughing track in Nickelodeon?
I assume it would. I mean, I'm assuming Disney did the same thing as well and would have had a laughing track.
All right. The first thing that pops up is Reddit. Did you know that laugh tracks, the audience reactions to laugh tracks that you commonly hear on Nickelodeon goes all the way back to the Amanda Show? Okay, cool. That was the year they started to use laugh track, etc., etc. The laugh tracks are likely played on a loop. There is commonly 4 different patterns or set of laugh cycles: quiet giggles and chuckles and randomized, and those famous applause and reactions.
Oh, it's like when there's like a shocking moment, like ooh,
Yeah,
or like a shocked moment.
yeah. So the thing I heard, and the reason why I thought it was the same, so I heard someone say it, and they said that there was a distinguishable laugh in one of the tracks. Like at the end, there's this guy that's like really high pitch or really low, but it's like almost a single laugh you can pick out. And once you hear it, you can never unhear it. So then you hear it appear, and then you hear it appear again and again in like different episodes in the future. And then that's how they picked out that it was like a reuse track.
I wonder why maybe it's a cost thing around not having to pay for multiple people to laugh and record, but I wonder why they just didn't do
it live.
Yeah, well, not do it live, but then like just use different laugh tracks. Because surely, I mean, like these TV shows would have a bit of a budget, and I don't know whether also there's some existing archive on the internet where you could buy laughs. Similar like what's the thing about image, like Getty image?
Oh yeah, like when you buy stock images.
Yeah, like stock laugh essentially.
I'm sure there is. I think if you buy sound effects now, you can like pay to license like laugh tracks, and they would have recorded it at like a comedy show or something like that. It's probably possible, but it's probably just easier to repurpose it because you already have the tone that you want from it. Because the problem with using like real time or real life laugh track each and every time is you sometimes don't get the reaction you want from the audience.
Yeah.
Based on the direction that you're trying to take that show.
And I wonder if they like when they broadcast like shows in different countries, they probably didn't actually probably just use the same one, but like they catered the
universal.
laugh to like a different country and like what is,
imagine
more the majority of the laugh type in, say China or in the UK or in Japan or something,
I think laughing is universal. Although Japan is known, at least in anime, I don't think this is like real life people. One of Japan's favorite things in Japanese anime, or cartoons in general, let's be real, they like to have like crazy characters have a unique laugh. So One Piece is a very famous anime for having main characters that have like distinguishable laugh that is like their laugh. So like you'll have a character that only ever laughs as ho 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 ho, or another character that always laughs as like ki 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 ki, and then they always just laugh like that. Like that's part of their
signature character.
Their signature character is their laugh.
The laugh. So how did what's the little character Chopper laugh?
Chopper? Does Chopper laugh? Chopper? So I can't think of his laugh on the spot, even though he's my favorite character. One of his trademark things, he gets really he pretends to be embarrassed and shy when he gets praise, but he loves getting praise, and he does this really cute animation where like he turns into like a squiggly thing and he's all happy and blushing and he's like, oh no, stop it. Like that's he's
being like modest.
Yeah, that's
like,
one of
don't
his
give me attention,
trademarks.
but like, yeah, give it to me.
Yeah, that's one of his trademarks. Like reactions to things, which is pretty cute. That's the thing that I think of first go when I think of Chopper. Chopper's so cute.
One Piece. How long's that gone for now?
One Piece is one of the longest running mangas in anime, I swear to God. So One Piece is an anime about pirates. I don't know when it actually started because I watched it in my childhood.
Do you think it would ever, I mean, I'm aware of it, but like, do you think it's going to reach a point where it's going to finish?
Yes.
Like, and is it going to be like in the next couple of years, or do you think it's like another 10, 20 years down the track?
Well, the author of One Piece, so those who follow it, context. One Piece started in July 1997. It is now 2024. I can't do maths, so I don't know how long that's been.
27 years.
27 years.
1997, yeah.
And I know they're one of the longest running because it used to be One Piece, Naruto, and Bleach that were the big three in manga and anime world for the longest time. And then Naruto finished, Bleach kind of dropped off, but One Piece is still going. So it's one of the longest things. And those three were like the long, big ones that were very popular and survived that long. Because part of the reason why mangas and stuff get dropped as well is because they lose their popularity over time and they actually get dropped. This doesn't because it's such a strong... There's such a strong following. What were we talking about originally?
We're talking about like character laughs, and then you said Chopper didn't have a laugh.
No, we're talking about when you asked when One Piece might finish.
Yeah. Is it like in the next couple of years, or like is it going to be like
don't know
lifetime?
So it started in 1997. It's still going. One of the more recent arcs called the Wano arc. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. It's like a samurai era kind of arc. That arc only started like sometime in the last few years, I'm pretty sure, like manga-wise and anime-wise. And the author actually said that this is the start of the story of One Piece. And
the start? 20 plus years later. Okay.
He said every arc beforehand, he didn't say this explicitly, but it was implied. He's like, every arc beforehand was more about introducing the characters in the world and introducing how the crew became the crew that it is today. So the main characters, pirate crew. So episodes up to now has been like the backstory of every crew member and how they came to join Luffy's, the main character's crew, and now the real story of One Piece begins. That's what it says. So I don't know how long it has left.
Well, I'm assuming, is it the person who created it, are they still alive?
He's still alive.
How old is he though?
Let me have a look. How old is Oda? Oda is the author's name. Oda was born in 1975, so he is 49 years old.
No, that's not. What? 1975. Is
that wrong? I don't know. Google just says 49 years old.
He started really when quite young to anime. Well, not anime, but like this is the manga artist, yeah? Yeah.
And he did the story as well.
Yeah.
I don't actually know the origin of how he started. He was 22 years old. Oda was 17 years old when he started making mangas and then 22 years old when he made One Piece.
Jeez. What a young achiever.
Oh, he's insane. He is like unreal creative. One Piece is known for one of the best world building in anime and in creative art
like the folklore
in general.
And the background of
just everything,
characters and world and stuff.
Everything. Like he's just really well thought, and he is very detail orientated. Like, big fans of him have kind of like highlighted little things he does. Like, for example, I saw a clip recently where on one of the so in mangas sometimes you get covers and then you also get art inside, like a 2-page like full art. So it's almost like a poster.
Yeah.
He drew something where there's like all these characters as chess pieces on a chessboard, and he went as far as plotting out where each chess piece is actually allowed to appear in the grid.
Okay.
On top of like which characters should appear in front, at the back, based on their proportion, so it would look the best.
Yeah.
Like that's how far he takes it. No one would care. Most people would just be cool to see like character art in chess piece form on a grid. Like they wouldn't think to be like, a queen can only go here. Why would he ever put it in this corner?
Yeah. God. Okay. But the fact that he's 45, was it? 45, 49. It kind of means that he's got quite a while, and the series might end up continuing for, the next 10, 20 years. which is, I mean, great for the fans. And as long as he's coming up with good ideas, then, why not?
Yeah, I don't know if he actually has the ending. Does Oda know what the One Piece is or the ending is? If I type that into Google,
what does Reddit say? The source of truth.
Yeah, you can trust everything you read on the internet, don't you know? The first comment from 6 years ago just says, he said One Piece is something tangible. And they're talking about literally One Piece.
Okay.
Oda has known how One Piece will end since the first chapter. He's even told his editor.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right.
Allegedly.
Okay. Yep.
But he is kind of, so there's a lot of like discord online about whether or not this is actually true or if this is just fans being delulu about Oda and One Piece in general, because there is a strong fandom around it.
Yeah.
But a lot of people credit Oda to being quite good at foreshadowing. So he's one of the few artists that they say, like, because he does know the end or like the general layout of how he wants his story arcs to play out, he's very good at like planting things early on and then letting it play out. So there'll be something that happens in season 2 and then you watch season 4 and you're like, oh my God, do you remember that thing that happens in season 2?
There's like a connection from something way ago, like an Easter egg sort of.
Exactly.
Sort of thing. Yeah.
Spoiler, sort of. Like even in one of the very first arc, there's like the introductions of fishermen. No, not fishermen. What are they called? Like fish type human things. I forgot what they're called. They're like half human, half fish kind of thing. I forgot what they're called. And he's like portrayed as the main evil guy, but then it's introduced later, like how he became evil, and then how that relates to a different story arc about the fish people in general. And it's pretty like unreal because you see how it's all connected, and you're like, whoa. I'm a fan. I don't know all that background, and I can't connect everything because I was a fan of One Piece when it first came out because I watched it as a kid. And then I dropped it when life got busy, like started studying for high school and then got into college and stuff. So I dropped it for years. Then I picked it up during, pandemic when everyone was
everyone was binging everything. Yeah.
It's over 1,000 episodes right now.
That's crazy. So it's not like one of those ones you're like, all right, let's rewatch it. It's going to take you. You're going to be able to binge it in a week.
That's if you want to. So because it's so old, it's like old school anime style where a lot of the earlier episodes, they're actually really only 8-minute videos realistically because you got the opening, you got the recap, then you got the actual episode, and then you got the ending, and then you got the preview for the next episode. So it's like barely any content. And then these days, because it's been going on for so long, you can actually find episodes where they recap
everything in one episode, which they
like,
could have
like key moments, but you miss out on like, the details, the action shots, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. Do you know what? Like, I mean, it's good that he's 45, 49, so he's got a bit of time to, finish it. But Hunter x Hunter, the other anime where we're all just waiting for it to finish. And I think like it's probably like close to finishing, but obviously the issues with the creator and the health stuff is just really preventing that from reaching the tail end, which is a shame because I mean I only recently watched that last year I think. I loved it and I didn't realize how old it was. Like it was so beyond its time.
Yes,
it had the very like like you said, like the very traditional sort of filler episodes and it's something that a lot of animes love to do where they like to focus on an action scene for like multiple episodes and different angles. And, if you watch, which I'm sure a lot of people have the volleyball haiku one, like that's the one that I find the most, where they really like sort of like to film the spike from like 20,000 different angles before the ball hits. And then when it hits, it's like you hear it like 20 times because you want to see the shot. And I'm like, yeah. Anyway, sorry, Hunter x Hunter. Yeah, that one. I really, really want to see how that ends, and for that to be completed. But
yeah,
I don't know what's the news at the moment.
So Hunter x Hunter is written by a guy, and I apologize if I mispronounce his name, Yoshihiro Togashi. He's 58 years old. He actually has a lot of health problems, which is why the manga actually goes on hiatus a lot. So the story is incomplete. The series Hunter x Hunter came out in 1998, and I think there was an anime adaptation the following year, but then the more popular anime was when they remade it in 2011, which is which might be the one you watched. Which follows closer to the storyline. That ended at a story arc, so it's been a pretty good finish, but you can tell that there's more to come because it teases it. And it does stretch further in the manga, but it keeps stopping and starting because he's unwell and he can't continue it. Because he is in the Jump thing, which means that it's a weekly release. Like that's kind of the expectation, and I think he just can't meet that demand. I don't know too much why, but yeah, it's been on hiatus. Actually, it's like come up like here and there. I think like he like started a couple of years. He released like 1 or 2 chapters and then he disappeared again. Yeah, that's good though. Hunter x Hunter's good.
So epic. I've watched that dodgeball episode so many times because it's just like so epic. And I'm happy to like, watch the various different angles and the, filler aspects of it. And then similarly the I can't remember what it was, like the battle between the Zoldycks, the assassin family, and then the head of that. What was it? Phantom Troop. Yeah, Phantom Troop leader. That scene. Do you remember? I think it was like the mafia arc one.
Yeah.
That was another epic fight scene. I was like constantly rewatch it all the time.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah, so Hunter x Hunter is an anime that follows the main character is a young boy, but the second main is also another boy that he's friends, Gon and Killua. Hunters in this world or universe are like not police, but people who can fight and fight monsters or complete jobs that a traditional police or someone of authority can't do. Like you have to be very
it's like almost like a bounty hunter, like for
yes,
yeah,
like
a bounty hunter. Like you have the police and
hunters.
then you have the bounty hunter.
Yeah. And then it's essentially following these 2 kids who take the exam to become a licensed hunter, and then they are capable enough to become that, and then it's following their journey. But it actually gets quite dark, even though it sounds very lighthearted, because it's just about them navigating the real issues of the world, essentially, what the darkest part of the world is and how they can contribute to it as hunters.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's all the stuff around like the friendship between Killua and Gon.
Yes.
Yeah. And then Hizukai, that's another story.
Yeah.
And his obsession with fighting strong opponents, whether it's kids or adults. He doesn't discriminate.
Yeah. Whatever. Cool. All right, let's wrap things up with our dessert. So we like to always practice gratitude. So call out anything we are grateful or thankful for that's been happening recently in the weekday, last few hours.
Me first? I actually hit a new PR, personal record, personal best on the ab crunch machine, but I still don't have any abs. But now I can ab crunch 50 kilos, if that means anything to anyone.
I think it's impressive. I don't know how much I could do that. I am thankful for my mum. So it's almost Mother's Day. It's May at the moment. We celebrated Mother's Day early because my siblings are going overseas. And Mother's Day is about recognizing everything your mum does. So I kind of had that moment by celebrating with her recently. I'm just grateful for everything she does for me and for her as a human because she's lovely and I love her. Yeah, that's what I'm thankful for.
You make me sound so superficial. Just talking about myself.
Well, you didn't do a Mother's Day thing recently, so it's just not front of mind for you. And then meal prep. So goals for the week. I also want to change this up a bit because I think it's like quite high pressure to always ask for a goal. So if not a goal, just something you're looking forward to as well that you have planned. So meal prep can be either a goal you want to set or something you're looking forward to that you already have planned that you want to shout out.
Can you go first? Sorry.
I can go
Give it
first.
time to think.
Yeah. There's this really fun conference coming up in June called Design Outlook. I'm one of the event managers on it, and I'm actually pretty excited about how it's coming together and everything that's being revealed on it, including the presenters who are coming, how the festival week is going to run. I think it's going to be really cool. It's something to celebrate the design community and bring them together. It's going to be epic. I'm just having a lot of fun being part of the pre-planning for it, and it's something I'm really looking forward to.
Well, it's so hard to follow that now because my one's so simple. I really just want to eat some good fried chicken this week.
Yum!
Fried chicken with a bit of potato and gravy to dip in.
Yeah.
Celebrating.
Fried chicken's always a good idea. It's pretty funny because you'll be surprised how often fried chicken is like people's like first go to like guilty pleasure kind of meal. When I was sick with a cold, I was like telling my friend, "Oh, I'm sick with a cold," and then she literally just the first thing she says to me is, "Oh, that sucks. You can't eat fried chicken for a while."
Well, I mean, you shouldn't, but it's not like you can't.
Probably make it worse though. All right. Thank you so much for listening and tuning in. We appreciate you, and we can't wait to see you next time. Bye.
See you later. Bye.